YouTube is Chelzor the Story, and we are going to watch TV shows that had shockingly dark endings. So grab your snackies, grab your bevies, let me know what you eat and drink down below. Let's get to watching.
On this channel, I've covered my fair share of films with some seriously dark endings, but I've never really looked at TV shows. You know, the ones that spend most of their time being lighthearted and fun, and then suddenly, bam! A super dark ending that just leaves you staring at the screen like... Even Don Bluth, the man who gave us the childhood trauma of a young dinosaur witnessing his mother get mauled by a T-Rex, once said, "Kids can handle any amount of darkness as long as you give them a happy ending."
Dang.
That's a...
So let's find things where we don't give them a happy ending.
Debatable quote in on itself, but it seems that not everyone even got that memo. So today we're going to take a look at some TV shows that unexpectedly took a dark turn right at the end, starting with Camp Lazlo. Oh, and spoiler.
Camp Lazlo? Isn't that the cartoon about the monkey at like summer camp or something?
Obviously. Camp Lazlo was a series on Cartoon Network which focused around a group of campers and the adventures they would get up to at camp. The series overall was pretty lighthearted and goofy, that is until the final episode, Lumpus's Last Stand. In this episode, it's revealed that the campers had never once washed their clothes, and with the final deadline for laundry day approaching, everyone rushes to the local laundromat to get their clothes cleaned. Everyone seems thrilled with having their uniforms smell fresh for the first time all summer, except for Scoutmaster Lumpus, who doesn't like the idea of wearing freshly clean clothes, and so decides to instead paint his clothes on directly to his skin, effectively walking around the camp naked with all the children. Oh, but it gets weirder, because he then tells the young campers about his new life hack and convinces the children to also do the same. Oh, but it gets weirder. So word of this new life hack starts to spread around, and Lumpus is hailed a hero for revolutionizing the clothing world. That isn't...
No, none of that.
Till it starts raining and the paint washes off. Just as everyone is about to attack Lumpus, a police car and ambulance roll up, where a strange individual gets out claiming that he's the real Scoutmaster and that Lumpus is an imposter who locked him away in a closet and stole his position.
That's the bad moose who locked me in the closet all summer and stole my job.
What the fuck? Why? Were they... How many seasons did this thing have? Were they like, oh, maybe if we have like a crazy like ending or whatever, we'll get greenlit for another season? I'm so confused. Why?
Lumpus simply admits that, yeah, it's all true, and he's put into a straitjacket and hauled away to some mental institution. This ending comes completely out of nowhere and is such a jarring revelation for what is essentially one of the main characters of the series. And it makes it all the more unsettling when rewatching episodes, knowing that this scout leader is actually just some mental patient who's hanging around children.
Yeah, that's really unsettling. That is incredibly unsettling.
Landed in Prickly Pines naked, and the moose we thought was our scoutmaster just got hauled off as a deranged lunatic to a funny farm.
But to add another level of oddness to this bizarre situation, is that the character who turns out to be the actual Scoutmaster is actually the character Heifer from the Nickelodeon show Rocko's Modern Life, be it with a couple of design changes to avoid copyright issues.
I was about to say, he does look kind of different. He's got different horns and stuff.
Why this character of all people? Well, the creator of Camp Lazlo, Joe Murray, was also the creator of Rocko's Modern Life. So I guess he wanted to do a little bit of a throwback? I find it insane that this episode actually made it to airing, not just for the questionable plot, not just for the dark twist at the end, but also the fact that they tried using a character from another show that was on a rival network. The final line of the episode has one of the characters stating,
"Okay, I think it just officially got to the point where it can't get any weirder."
Which I guess was technically true, as that was the end of the show.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really like shows like this. I mean, I guess they're for kids or whatever, but even as like a kid, I didn't really like shows like that where it was just like, what crazy hijinks today? And like, I don't know, like I always preferred shows that had like an ongoing plot, you know? So like, and not just like crazy hijinks. So like, I didn't watch a lot of that show. But like, what the fuck?
Courage the Cowardly Dog. Courage the Cowardly Dog was also a series that aired on Cartoon Network, which
I did watch a lot of Courage the Cowardly Dog, though. I have a question. Why was there a specific point in time where it was like all of like the shows geared toward like kids or children or like whatever were like horror based? Like, why was that a thing?
to focus around a dog named Courage, living in the middle of nowhere with his owners Eustace and Muriel, with each episode focusing around a new threat, which Courage would have to save his owners from. The series could get surprisingly dark in places.
I don't remember that thing, but I hate it.
And that was no different for the final episode, Remembrance of Courage's Past. Throughout the series, we never really got any information on Courage's past other than in the opening credits, where it's told to us that he was abandoned as a puppy before being found by Muriel. But why was he abandoned? Was it neglect? Did he get lost? What happened to his parents? Well, in this episode, we finally got our answer. The episode begins with Courage noticing a sign for missing dogs on the side of a milk carton, which causes him to have a flashback to his childhood, where for the first time in the series, we see Courage's parents. In this flashback, he remembers at how his parents were kidnapped by a creepy bear. This puts Courage into a motionless trance, as not even Eustace scaring him with his iconic mask phases him. The two decide to take Courage to the vet, where we see the same veterinarian from Courage's flashback.
I know just what to do with the dog, but I'd like to have a moment with him alone.
As Courage flees from the vet, we get another flashback which reveals to us that Courage's parents, along with many other dogs, were sent away in a rocket ship so that
Were they testing rockets out with the dogs?
they could be bred into a super species of space dogs. Yeah.
Breeding dogs in space is the future.
We cut back to present day to find that the vet is now trying to send Courage, Eustace and Muriel away in the same rocket. Only this time, Courage manages to best the vet and send him off instead. Courage has always been a show which had a bit of a dark tone to it, but this episode in
Yeah, because it was based on like horror and stuff. So like, yeah, it was kind of a dark tone anyway.
particular felt a lot more sinister. Notably with the flashback sequences which had a different aesthetic, along with some janky distorted music. And man, that scene where Courage waves a tearful goodbye to his parents, that hits hard.
Damn. It's like, cool, my parents died in space.
Though the final flashback does have an incredibly wholesome moment showing where Muriel first discovers Courage and takes him away to live with her.
What courage you have. Would you like to come home with me?
The last shot of the episode shows the vet crash landing on the same planet that he had sent the dogs to, including Courage's parents, where they end up mauling
Where Courage's dad's ready to kick ass.
him off screen.
Damn.
Even though the vet receives his comeuppance, the ending still has an overall dark feeling to it, as Courage's parents and the other dogs are still trapped on that strange world, and Courage never got to reunite with them.
I'll call you Courage. We'll have a grand time.
Dang.
Samurai Jack. I know technically season 5 was darker and aimed at a more adult audience, but the series as a whole was initially for general audiences, so I'm going to include it. In season 5 of Samurai Jack, we meet this young girl named Ashi, who was partially created after her mother drank Aku's demon fluid while she was pregnant. Yeah, don't think about it. This means that
Yeah,
part of
don't
Ashi
think about
is
it. Yeah. Yeah. It, like, I don't know. The ending of Samurai Jack felt upsetting.
made up of Aku. So when Jack finally manages to travel back to the past and defeat Aku, This means that Ashi would have technically never existed, and so she fades away from existence in Jack's arms.
Without a coup, I would have never existed.
This was crushing for Jack, as the two had formed a romantic relationship over the course of the season, which I have my own personal thoughts on, but you can check out my full review for that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I feel like it went in a weird place.
So the fact that she died right when Jack was set to get his happily ever after, and on their wedding day of all things, really put a dark note on what was supposed to be a celebration of victory. This ending was so hated by fans that they actually later retconned it in a secret ending to a video game, where it's revealed that Ashi actually survived. But if you had only watched the show, you probably wouldn't have known about this, and so we're left with the somber image of Jack sat alone, mourning.
Yeah, because like you have like the freaking hero, right? That's gone through all kinds of trials and tribulations and like horrible things. And it's like, oh, he's going to have a happy ending. No, he's not. Why would he have a happy ending? And it's like, come on, man, let him have a happy ending. I know, like, yeah, not every hero gets a happy ending, but like, damn. Why did you do this to us? Like, why did you dangle that? Like, why did you dangle that in front of us?
Her passing. Also, Jack going back and defeating Aku means that this future no longer exists, meaning that everyone in this has most likely been wiped from existence. So yeah, that's a fun thought. Spider-Man Unlimited. Spider-Man Unlimited was meant to be a loose follow-up to the animated series of the 90s. Only this one mostly takes place on an alternate Earth which they call Counter-Earth. It's basically the same as normal Earth, only with more furries. The series was a pretty typical Spider-Man cartoon.
And it feels like everything is really way more run down, which is crazy.
That is until its final episode, Destiny Unleashed. In this, the High Evolutionary, who has been the main antagonist of the series, has started arresting people en masse and demanding that Spider-Man and his Rebel Alliance turn themselves in, otherwise he will start destroying the city bit by bit.
My hope, where will I live?
Do you believe for one moment that I care?
Okay. What the fuck? What the hell?
Spider-Man tries to fight back, but he and a group of his rebels are captured. However, they are able to escape with the help of Counter-Earth Green Goblin.
Rumors of my demise are greatly exaggerated.
My death was greatly exaggerated.
With their combined efforts, they manage to defeat the High Evolutionary, so all is good and happy, right? Not quite. As during the High Evolutionary's arrests, two other bad guys, Venom and Carnage, are also captured. Venom and Carnage are both symbiotes who need a host in order to survive.
And they're just rooming together? They were roommates? Carnage and Venom. All right. I guess.
In this case, Eddie and Cletus. During the capture, it appears they got separated, and when Eddie and Cletus are found, they reveal that the symbiote created a failsafe for if this was ever to happen.
It's too late for any of us.
What are you talking about?
Millions of spores will be shot into the atmosphere, bringing all other life to an end.
And that's where the series ends. It was supposed to have this conflict resolved in a following season, but this was never picked up due to a combination of low ratings and increased competition from other shows.
And then Pokemon existed. I just got like... What? First of all, I don't... This was definitely like a 90s show or something, right? Like it or 80s maybe? I feel like 90s. It feels like it yeah, it just like screams it aggressively.
So canonically, this is where the series ends, with the spores affecting the whole planet and everyone inhabiting it.
First of all, that's not a spore. It's like a plant.
Probably dying as a result. The world of David the Gnome. The world of David the Gnome, also known as
David the Gnome? You couldn't give him some whimsical ass fairy name? He's David the Gnome? All right.
simply as David the Gnome, is an 80s Spanish animated series which focuses around some gnomes whose job it is to protect the forest and the animals that inhabit it. For the most part, it's a pretty light-hearted and tame series that you wouldn't bat an eye at. That is until the final episode, where our two main characters die. And I'm not talking about this being a thing that happens right at the end. Oh no, the whole episode is centered around these two gnomes coming to terms with the fact that they are about to die. Reason being is that according to the show, gnomes typically can't live past 400 years. David's wife Lisa realizes that their time is coming to an end and begins to get upset at the thought of them dying. This is a pretty heavy theme for what was otherwise a really light-hearted show. It's not just the idea that death exists, but the fact that they know their time is coming, and we watch as they both slowly come to terms with their impending mortality.
Hey, have you liked this relatively lighthearted show about these gnomes protecting this this forest? Great. Well, the forest is probably gonna get fucked up, and these gnomes are gonna die, and you're just gonna watch them have to come to the fact that they accept the fact that they're gonna die because there's nothing they can do about it. You get to watch them die, and you get to watch them try to come to terms with it. Yeah. Yes. Wow.
Yes. I'm sorry. Nothing lasts forever, does it, darling?
During this, they release all of their pets back into the wild and say goodbye.
What if your pets can't survive in the wild anymore? They've been your pet forever.
To all of their friends. The two also receive a letter from their old friend Caspar, who also expresses that he doesn't want to, quote, go on the long journey alone, and so they travel to meet with him before their time comes. This whole episode just has such a morbid feel to it. Like when Lisa talks about packing stuff for the journey and then tearfully recognizes that she won't be needing anything, it's just straight up depressing.
Damn.
You're right, David. We won't need anything there.
You're just gonna go die in a field, I guess.
And that music playing as they both look at their home one last time, knowing that they won't be coming back to it, man, that hurts.
Damn, dude.
They meet up with their friend Caspar and have a final.
Why does Casper look so much older than them? Probably just the glasses. And he looks a little scranglier, but
toast
still.
to all the people they've met over the years. Eventually they make it to the base of Mountain Beyond, which they intend to be their final resting place, where they say goodbye to their fox friend Swift, who had brought them there. Once at their final resting place, the trio say goodbye to one another, in which David and Lisa give each other one last embrace before passing away and turning into trees. In which Swift gives one last final cry to mourn the passing of his friends. And the episode ends with the ghostly spirits of David and Lisa giving their final goodbye to the audience.
Damn, dude, what the fuck?
I'm telling you, as a grown adult, this was a tough watch. So I couldn't possibly imagine what it must have been like for the unsuspecting children who were watching this at the time.
I feel like, I could be wrong, I feel like for kids, it wouldn't hit kids as hard. You know? Legitimately, I think that it would not hit kids as hard because for kids, they have forever, right? They're not about to die. And then as an adult, you're like, God, I'm gonna die in the next couple of years, basically. You're just like, damn. So I mean, I think it's harder for adults than it is for kids, just because kids, yeah, you have to kind of, I guess you don't have to, but ideally, you kind of have to give serious concepts to kids so they can come to terms with it, or just have it normalized within their lifetime or whatever. But and it's not a breakdown later, I guess. I don't know. But I don't think that this would affect kids as hard as it would affect adults.
But in saying that, I do think the concept of death is an important lesson to be showcased towards children, and with the characters in this essentially just dying from old age, it will probably hit home for adults just as much as it will kids. I did think at one point the show was going to try and backpedal on this, as Lisa does mention that some gnomes have been known to live past 400 years.
But there was that couple in the Balkans who lived 550 years.
So I thought that was going to be a possible way out for the writers. And we've seen this in other shows before, where it looks as though a character is going to die, the whole episode builds up to it, and then something miraculous happens at the end and it all works out just fine. But no, here they stuck to their guns, and I respect that. And hey, at least at the end the fox manages to find some tail, so you know, it's not all a sad ending.
Well, damn. God, the quiet door closing. Ow, my feelings.
And before we get to the number one spot, I thought I would also give some quick honorable mentions. These are shows that had incredibly dark season endings, but they weren't the series finales. Though they very well could have been, as getting a season renewal was not always guaranteed. Ed, Edd and Eddy. The original end of the show was going to be season 4, where in the final episode it is revealed that all the adventures we've seen the Eds been on throughout the series were nothing more than dreams from Eddy, who was an old man in the future.
It was all just stories? Memories from the past? We really are old!
Shaolin Showdown.
Well,
Season 1 ends with Raimundo betraying the Shaolin Dragons, helping the evil witch Wuya achieve her living form, effectively ending all life on the planet.
damn.
Beast Wars. Season 2 ends with Megatron effectively killing Optimus Prime, causing the events in history to change, as without Optimus Prime, the Decepticons end up winning the war, and the Maximals cease to exist.
The Autobots lose!
I'm so distracted by the CGI. I'm so sorry.
You no longer exist!
Courage the Cowardly Dog. Again. Season 1 ends with Muriel and Eustace getting turned into puppets, effectively dead, with Courage then taking them home and operating them to recreate their normal day-to-day lives.
The things I do for love.
Marcelino. Season 1 ends with Marcelino asking Jesus if he can reunite with his long-lost mother. It turns out that his mother had died, and so the season ends with Marcelino also dying so that he can be with her once more. This end.
What? Oh. Damn, that's crazy.
Was deemed so traumatizing for kids that they made another season a few years later, in which
A few years later? Not like we're not going to show that episode, we're going to make a new episode, or like not that we're going to release a movie or something, or like a few years later we're going to let them marinate on that.
Marcelino is revived, basically treating the whole thing as a dream.
I think Marcelino has found his mother at last, and he is happy.
And now for the number one darkest ending to a TV show, it's got to be Dinosaurs. The show which not only killed off its main cast, but also the entire planet. The final episode, titled Changing Nature, revolves around the world waiting for the annual return of the Bunch Beetles. This year, however, they are nowhere to be seen. The reason being is that a wax fruit factory has been built on their old mating grounds, and all of the beetles have been fumigated. At first, this doesn't seem to be too much of a big deal, until the world starts getting overrun with an infestation of cider poppy plants, a plant in which the beetles' young would normally eat. So as a quick fix solution, Earl decides to produce a pesticide to wipe out the plant. The pesticide is released en masse, and does indeed manage to kill off the cider poppies, but unfortunately it works a little too well and kills off all other plant life on the planet too. So in order to get the plants to grow back, they decide to manually alter the weather in order to make it rain. And to do that, they decide to produce clouds by bombing all of the Earth's volcanoes. This causes volcanic gases to block out the...
What? What the fuck? Hey man, we need to make clouds. How are we gonna do that? Fucking nuke volcanoes, my dude. Like, what?
Sun, resulting in a massive drop in global temperatures. The news report declares that the gases will likely block out the sun for at least 10,000 years, effectively kicking off an ice age. Earl finally realizes the error of his ways, but it's too little too late.
Congratulations, Earl. You killed everyone and everything. Not just you and your family, but everyone.
And the family huddle together inside whilst the snow begins to set in. The episode ends with the camera panning away from the snowed-in house as the final news report declares a future of darkness and extreme cold. And the news reporter's final words as he signs off are, "Good night and goodbye."
This is Howard Handupme. Good night. Goodbye.
Man,
damn.
Talk about utterly depressing. Especially with the fact that our main character is having to explain it to a naive child who can't comprehend that they're all gonna die.
What's gonna happen to us?
Well, I've killed all of us, so we're gonna die slowly. Just like everybody else.
I don't exactly know.
Interestingly though, when this episode was first being conceived, it was never planned to be the series finale, but was later written to
How are you supposed to come back from that? How are you supposed to come back from I created the Ice Age?
be after the showrunners found out that the series was being cancelled. As stated in a 2015 interview with the associate producer Kirk Thatcher. Quote, "The strange thing about that was that we hadn't intended it to be the last episode. We sort of just wrote it as just another episode that we could potentially use as an ending. But then we found out that we were cancelled, we turned the episode into a finale as it aired.
Damn.
I suppose in a series about dinosaurs, it does kind of make sense that they would all end up dying a horrible death. Taking notes, Land Before Time.
Listen, they figured out Land Before Time made money and they just kept churning them out, man.
It's still an incredibly tough and saddening watch.
Dinosaurs have been on this earth for 150 million years. And it's not like we're going to just disappear.
I also love how this episode has a 9+ age rating, not for the dark, depressing, apocalyptic tone of it all, but for tobacco usage. Smoking kills, folks.
It's bad for your health, and it stains your teeth, so don't be a fool. Smoking isn't cool.
So yeah, that was my pick for shows which I think had the darkest of endings. But let me know what you think in the comments. Did you watch any of these when you were growing up? Do you remember how they affected you?
Jesus.
And do you have any other shows that you feel I missed out on?
I feel like the Spanish Gnome one would have fucked me up as a kid. I don't even know. I've never heard of that one, but like, damn. The thought of it is fucking me up as an adult.
Until the next one.
Also, this kid that just dies, however he died, like Jesus takes him.
Guys, take care.
Embrace me and have no fear.
That is just so fucked up, man. What the hell? Oh my God.